The JHS Haunting Mids is potentially the most niche and unique pedal that I own. It's a pedal that I've never seen the likes of before nor since. And while I always knew that it was going to be important for me when I was buying it, in the time that I've had it, it's turned out to be a lot more valuable than I ever expected. So today we're just going to take a closer look at it, what it is, what it can do, and a couple of different ways that you can use it. I'll give more of my own thoughts and opinions about the pedal towards the end, and if you'd like to just jump straight to the sounds, you can skip to the timestamp that appears on screen now. But firstly, let me just say welcome back to the channel, guys. Thanks for being here. If this is your first time, basically everything that we do is centered around guitar and music and overall betterment and improvement, just basically finding new ways to learn and improve together. So if that sounds like something you'd like to be a part of, you know what to do. But if not, I'll just take the opportunity to say thanks for watching, and I just hope that there's something in this video that is useful for you and something you're able to learn from. But alright, let's keep going. So the Haunting Mids is technically an EQ boost pedal, but in the words of Josh Scott, it works as a mid-frequency preamp. It has 4 very simple controls, which is volume for overall volume, mids, which controls how much of the mids you're boosting and cutting, sweep, which controls the frequency of the mids that you're affecting, and the toggle, which controls the sharpness of the frequency peak. So high is much more sharp, whereas low is much more broad. And this pedal can be used for a number of different purposes, which we're about to go into, but all of it is centered around one very specific thing, controlling one of, if not the most important aspects of electric guitar and tone, the mids. So to start, we'll keep things very simple. I'm going to be playing into my Fender Hot Rod Deluxe on clean, and I'll play around with the frequency and the selection on the pedal so that you can hear the overall effect. And I'll also be using my Gibson Les Paul as well as my Fender Telecaster so that you can hear the differences that it has on single coils and humbuckers. now just do a quick comparison with the TC Electronic Spark Mini so that you can hear how it affects the tone, if it affects it at all, when set to just a simple overall volume boost. Alright, so now we're going to step things up a bit and start working with some drive, and we'll be using the pedal as a post-drive EQ and start sculpting some drive tones that way. And for lighter drive, I'm going to be using the Benson preamp, and for heavier drive, I'm going to be using the trusty Boss DS1. And you can hear there with the DS1, which is already quite scooped in the middle, that when you start introducing a bit more mids at the end of it, it just fattens it up and helps kind of bring it through with a little bit more punch. Now for pre-drive boost and EQ, we're going to use it in two different ways. The first is that we're going to take an already quite transparent overdrive, which in this case, the JHS Morning Glory, and we're going to start to introduce a little bit more mids to the tone to see if we can fatten it up and maybe push it more into tube screamer territory. And the second is that we're going to take the Way Huge Conspiracy Theory, which is a clone. And to me, this is already quite heavy in the mids, so we're just going to try scooping the signal going into it and see what kind of effect that has on cleaning it up. And now we'll just carry on with some final pre and post-drive EQ and tone sculpting, and I'm going to be using the 1981 DRV pedal, and we'll see what sort of different tones I'm able to get out of it. this pedal because in my time of playing guitar, there's always been one aspect of my tone which I feel like I've never been able to get right, which is the mids. The mids is a frequency that I find myself constantly kind of butting heads with. So when I came across a pedal like this, which controls and focuses on the mids so specifically, I knew that I needed to have it. I play primarily, if not always, with some degree of overdrive or distortion, and for good drive tone, the mids are massively important, especially as on a lot of pedals and on a lot of amps, you don't necessarily get even specific control for the mids. Take something like the DS1, which just gives you a single tone knob, or the Benson preamp, which gives you a treble and a bass, but no mid control. Or they do give you control, and it doesn't seem to have that much of an effect anyways, my Fender Hot Rod being a perfect example. On the settings on the EQ, I have the mids set to quite low, but because of the nature of the amp, the size, the cab, the wood that it's built from, even the room that I'm in, the mids still come through very strongly. But with the haunting mids, I know that no matter what situation I'm in, no matter what gear I'm using, no matter what pedal I might be using, I know that I will have the control over the mids that I might need. So right now, the haunting mid sits on my board at the end of the drive chain and acts as a post-drive boost and EQ, and it's awesome. This is a pedal that's grown more important to me over time as I've experimented with new gear, new amps, new pedals, also as I've grown in my playing and learned to sort of appreciate different frequencies. And honestly, I can't recommend it enough. Plus, it looks pretty cool on your board. But that about does it for today, guys. As always, I hope that there was something in this video that you were able to learn from, something that was useful for you. If there was, or even if not, let me know down below because it genuinely does help me know what works for you guys and what doesn't, and ultimately helps me make better videos. So drop something below, whatever you like, because I genuinely love to hear from you. But otherwise, thanks for doing all the usual business to help support my channel, help support my video. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you guys in a bit.